1, 2, test, test. There we go. Hello, everybody. Hey, how are we doing? Hope you're well. Welcome to Politics, Culture, and Some Other Shit. On this, I'm sorry I'm late with this. This is a Thursday recording. I came out here to do this yesterday, which was Wednesday, and I got interrupted and I couldn't do it. So I have to do it today instead. So here we are. So today we're going to cover 3 stories for you and a lot of other little things. A little update about Lough Neagh. We attended another protest at the weekend. It was a very interesting one. And then we're going to talk about the Israeli IDF rape stories. Turns out they were doing the raping the whole time, whilst accusing others, and still are, whilst accusing others. And you will not believe the response from the Israeli judiciary and media class and the Zionist entity as a whole. It is quite frankly staggering. Yeah, and what else? Oh yeah, Ray Gunn, the breakdancer at the Olympics. Do you know about this? I'm sure you do. It's hilarious. But anyway, let's get to it. We'll get to the Lough story first. So, before we do, please subscribe, like, share, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Head over to Politics, Culture, and Some Other Shit Patreon, and you can do that for £1 a month. You get all these videos and audios and a couple of little extra bonusy things. Not often, but sometimes when I can. For £1 a month of 1 tier only, that's it. Or one time, you can leave a tip. Helps keep the lights on here at Super 8 Ecotronic over at Buy Me a Coffee. And search for Politics, Culture, and Some Other Shit. Right, so BBC News have reported this. Campaigners hold vomiting protest at Moy Park. And I don't know if you can see on the screen. Those of you that are listening to this obviously can't. But if you can see, there's a load of protesters holding up a big banner. It says, "Factory farming is killing Lough Neagh," in front of the Moy Park factory over in Ciaran Industrial Estate over in Portadown, Craigavon, Portadown. I don't know which one it technically is, but it's one of the two. And you can see there in the background, just over the shoulder of the gentleman that is fake vomiting, there's a rather handsome looking dude with an Armagh hat on. That'd be me. So let's get to it. Environmental campaigners hold a protest on Sunday outside Moy Park factory in Craigavon, County Armagh. The protest, organised by Sli Eilie, who described themselves as an anti-capitalist climate action group, involved protesters simulating vomiting outside the factory. The group said more than 100 activists took part in the action to highlight the major role of factory farming in killing Lough Neagh and accelerating climate breakdown. Moy Park's head scientists identified a number of causes of algae blooms on Lough Neagh. Right. It is a complex issue, not specifically linked to any one sector. No one is saying it is. See how they obfuscate? See how they try to cause confusion? See how they try to give people who will defend what's going on here, try to give them an out? Because this is what you get. If you go on to Facebook and you say, bloody runoff from farms is causing algae blooms on Lough Neagh, then what you get back is, it's not just farmers, it's fucking... So you really need, in this age of pedantry, extreme pedantry, you really do need to hedge your language so that whenever you make your statement, you don't give people like Moy Park farms that are causing this. And I'll talk about that in a second, about the farms and the farmers. You have to be careful that you don't give them an out. once you've made your initial statement, because then what it does is it distracts from the point that you're trying to make, right? So, the spokesman says it's not specifically linked to any one sector. For its part, the poultry industry is highly regulated with strict limits set for wastewater quality at all Northern Ireland facilities. Now, that's a lie. That is a lie. It is not. The poultry industry may be highly regulated, as in they can't sell you a chicken that might kill you from, not because it's a mutant or anything, but through food poisoning. Yeah, that bit is true, but it's not highly regulated in it is highly regulated in so much as it sets the limits for its wastewater, but the fines are paltry. We know this. We know that this is what Edwin Poots introduced in 2012 in the Going for Growth strategy. So, although what the spokesperson said there is true, in air quotes, it's not the full fact. It's not. He's not giving you the full picture. The full picture is the poultry industry is highly regulated. That bit's true, with strict limits set for wastewater quality at Northern Ireland facilities. That's not true. It's not strict limits. And if you do pollute, you pay a tiny fine, which a company like Moy Park, which is a huge part of a huge conglomerate corporate body, can easily pay. And it'll just do the math. Is it cheaper to just dump this and pay the fine if we get caught? Or is it cheaper to clean it up? So that's what it comes down to. The corporation only understands numbers, and that's why the fines need to be massive. I mean, huge. And if you once that happens, you'll start to see changes being made. So onwards, back to the article. Moy Park undertakes regular review, testing, and monitoring of all trade effluent discharges. A pointless sentence. There's no, that sentence means nothing. Moy Park takes regular fucking review. What does that mean? You're still dumping millions of tons of shit into our fucking loch and rivers every year. We're continuing to work with the regulator on. I'm going to read this and what I think this guy's voice is. We're continuing to work with the regulator on measures to further improve facility wastewater quality. That's what I think he sounds like. Moy Park supplies branded and non-labelled chicken products. Right, okay. We know what they do. In June, a BBC investigation, which we all watched, didn't we, found the company had breached environmental laws in the way it discharged waste. So, the spokesperson there, in the next paragraph, is completely undermined. Everything he said is bullshit. The documents filed with Stormont's Department for the Environment, the DERA, the Department for Environment, Agriculture and Rural Affairs, showed that the company had breached legal limits on hundreds of occasions across 3 different sites in Northern Ireland. The discovery was made as part of a wider BBC investigation into pollution of Lough Neagh, the UK's largest freshwater loch, which has been blighted by blooms of toxic blue-green algae. Sunday's protest, which I was at, where am I? There I am there. Sunday's involved campaigners vomiting green sludge, was meant to represent this blue-green algae. Speaking after the protest, Dr. Laura Kehoe, an environmental scientist and a member of Sli Eilie Lough, said industrial animal agriculture was not only the main cause of the catastrophe at Lough Neagh, but also the number one cause of greenhouse gas emissions, water pollution, biodiversity collapse across Ireland. We simply cannot continue with extreme harm caused by corporations maximising their profit margins at the literal cost of the earth. She said, that's the thing, right? So listen to these 2 statements. I'm going to read this again. It is a complex issue not specifically linked to any one sector, a spokesperson said. For its part, the poultry industry is highly regulated with strict limits set for wastewater quality at all Northern Ireland facilities. My park undertakes regular review, test and monitoring of all trade effluent discharges. We're continuing to work with the regulator on measures to further improve facility wastewater quality. Now versus this. Speaking after the protest, Dr. Laura Kehoe, an environmental scientist and member of Sli Eilie, said the industrial animal agriculture was, I quote, not only the main cause of the catastrophe at Lough Neagh, but also the number one cause of greenhouse gas emissions, water pollution, and biodiversity collapse across Ireland. We simply cannot continue with the extreme harm caused by corporations maximising their profit margins at the literal cost of the earth. Now, contrast those two statements. Just contrast those two. One is a mealy-mouthed, lawyery bullshit that could have been written by AI, and one is the truth. One is excusing a crime, and one is exposing a crime. Two exact opposite statements. So, onwards. Now, the BBC further did, and I'm really actually happy about this. ITV or UTV here in the north did the best reporting on that. They started really shining the light on this and staying with it. And the BBC I'm not saying that they've jumped in because they were reporting it too, and they did that documentary. There's no doubt about that. And I was contacted ages ago about supplying some information for the investigative journalists who did that documentary. So the BBC have been on this too. But it's great to see because the BBC is so huge. So check this out. This popped up or was sent to me. And there's one thing about something appearing on, now this was the BBC's main website, so that's good. There's one thing about something appearing on BBC Northern Ireland, but when it goes across their whole media infrastructure like this, it's fantastic. I love it. And when you're seeing, in this case,
everyone vomiting. Okay, fine.
Check this. This is, I don't know what the channel is. It's a BBC channel. Seems to be a bit like a young person's channel, something like that. But it's great. It's brilliant to see. So here it is. There's the protest on the screen. You can watch this.
This protest in Northern Ireland had everyone vomiting. Okay, fine, it wasn't actually real vomit, it was all green sludge. Organised by Sli Eilie, an anti-capitalist climate action group. Over 100 activists knelt on the ground acting as if they were throwing up. Others held banners, and this guy got a lot in his mouth. The protest took part on Sunday outside the Moy Park factory in Craigavon. Moy Park provides chicken products to retailers and providers throughout the UK, Ireland and Europe. Campaigners argue that
So I love how she got the pronunciation of Sli Eilie correct, but got Craigavon wrong.
Factory farming, which is usually when chicken or other livestock is kept in smaller pens with regulated temperatures, is killing Lough Neagh, which was the UK's largest freshwater knot. And it used to look like this. Now it looks like this. Full of blooms of toxic blue-green algae. The vomiting, green sludge, was meant to represent the blue-green algae. Back in June, the BBC had found the company had breached environmental laws in the way it discharged waste. At the time, Moy Park said that all waste is strictly controlled and treated before it's discharged and enters waterways. BBC Northern Ireland has contacted Moy Park for comment.
Brilliant. So there we go. So all environmental or all factory waste is treated and measured before we illegally dump it, is basically what she said there. It's fantastic. It's great to see that. She nailed it. She got all the points in there, and whoever her audience is, I'm guessing it's young people, now they know. Isn't that fantastic? So on to finish, I'm actually not going to finish with that. So I did interview some of the attendees. I'm going to read this article in a minute. Let me just get it. Yeah. So we've got an interview here from one of the attendees. So check it out. So introduce yourself.
So my name's Sian. I'm a spokesperson for Sli Eilie and Climate Camp.
And could you tell my listeners what we're doing here today?
Sure. So we're here at one of the locations of Moy Park, which, as I'm sure your listeners know, is one of the biggest polluters of Lough Neagh and responsible for a huge percentage of industrial agriculture effluent that's been going into the waterways and Lough of Lough Neagh, polluting the waterways of Northern Ireland. So Climate Camp is about coming together, community campaigns coming together and showing solidarity with grassroots groups that are fighting environmental injustice. So we've been here camping on the shores of Lough Neagh for 5 days in collaboration with Save Lough Neagh, and the final day is the action here at Moy Park. Again, in Sli Eilie and Climate Camp in collaboration with Save Lough Neagh to bring more attention to the responsibility of these corporate entities in polluting the waterways of Ireland.
And how was the climate camp? How was the weekend?
Climate Camp has been amazing. Yeah, we had a full program of all types of workshops, practical ones. We had chanting and drumming. Some of those chants we're going to use today at the action. We've had workshops on the genocide in Gaza, on Palestine, communities against the injustice of mining, a national network of affected communities resisting mining. All came together. And then in the evenings we've had music and storytelling from local musicians, Kayleys. Yeah, there's been a kids area, the kids organised a dog show. Yeah, there's been all types of activities.
Brilliant. I played it the Friday night, by the way.
Oh, brilliant! Very good.
So, what? Why did? Can I ask you why you chose Ard Bow this year for Climate Camp?
I wouldn't be the best. I'm in the media working group. I'm not in the site working group. So
Okay.
there of course are a whole range of factors that go into decision making and finding a site. Principally, of course, like connecting with a local owner. But Ardbow, of course, we were looking for a location that was on the shores of the loch.
Yeah.
And being on the site of the Ardbow High Cross, where I believe there's been a Lammas fair for decades and decades, was also really symbolic of how we're also trying to revive or honour older traditions such as the Kaylee and storytelling. So it was really nice to have that connection of place to Ardbow.
It was a great spot for it. It was really, really impressive. And so, just finally, how many people are we going to have here today, do you think?
Yeah, as we were getting ready on site, we had 50 to 70 people, so we're just waiting for a few more to arrive.
Turn up.
Yeah, we should have those numbers.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it. So, introduce yourself.
So my name's
So there we go. What about that? So, okay. So, that was good. Sian explained what we were doing. Sorry, I'm just trying to do two things at once here, as always. And I'll just show you some video from the protest itself. People getting ready. And this was us all walking up to the thing in front of Moy Park. Moy Park eventually sent the cops in, because they are the biggest employer in Northern Ireland, actually, 5,000 people. And then I was there, some of my people before profit comrades were there. Jeannie was there, Lily was there, my daughter, she came along, and we did what we did. It was a Sunday afternoon. If you hang out with me, you go to all the best places for your weekend. go and protest. And this is these guys laying down the puke and all that horrible stuff on the ground. So that's kind of what we did. And now, so at one point, I reposted this on Twitter. And I'll show you that now. So the reason I'm showing you this, because this is the kind of response that you get. It's not always people quite as stupid as this, but yeah. Let me just open this up. So there we go. So that's my Twitter feed. So I reposted Sli Eilie's original post. More than 100 activists across Ireland Join Lough Neagh campaign, highlighting the major role in factory farming and killing Lough Neagh, accelerating climate breakdown. Now, some guy, is it Dawn? Dawn, yeah. So, what you get, and what I found I've got recently, as I've been posting things about going to protests, going to rallies, and things like that, we got lots of this whenever we went down to Dundalk, and we joined in with the protest against the anti-immigration, the fascists is basically what they are, those people, and you get lots of abuse. But this guy, so he's deleted his first post because he said something. He called me a name, right? But he used the wrong there. He spelled THERE. No, it was. He says, if these people got nothing better to do with their day. Now, my response to that is, these people travel from all over Ireland to come to a fucking industrial park in the middle of Craigavon to shine a light on the ongoing ecocide. So I personally don't think there's anything better to do with your day. Do they want to be doing other things? I'm pretty sure they do. But they did it, unlike this fucking knobhead, right? So I just pedantically, because I didn't want to get into it with this cunt, I put the right there, THEREIR in quotes under it. And you can see, if you're watching this, you can see what I'm getting at. And he said, you're definitely like them. Probably, the leader spelled probably wrong. So I put it in quotes and spelled probably right for him. And then Lucky Nom Nom replied and said, and to think the troll put so much effort into the appropriate use of your, only to falter 3 words later. A real shame. That's funny as fuck, right? And then Dawn comes back. Nom nom, you're probably, all in quotes, one of them far left nuts walking about in nappies with a gay pride flag in one hand and a Palestine flag in the other. And then Lucky Nom Nom comes back. Oh, bless. He's learning. Gold star. Typical lefty. Couldn't have a serious conversation, Dawn says. And then Lucky Nom Nom replies, you think you came across as being serious? When? Smiley face. Would you like a serious conversation? Dom replies, about the devastating effects of commercial dredging and factory farming on the biggest lake on this island? Sure. Don says, how about the 5,000 jobs the company offers to the local economy? As I work for the company we are chatting about, I know they are in the process of making huge changes to protect water waste. And Lucky Nom Nom says, now I think I'd gone to bed at this point. I'm sure the public are dying to see these huge changes. You might recommend they start communicating them. Nobody is demanding job losses. They are demanding a clean lake. Very reasonable reply. Very reasonable reply. Now, personally, if it's 5,000 jobs versus ecocide, versus literally no water, no fish, no trees, no insects, no birds, because that's what we're talking about. You're talking about living in some sort of post-nuclear wasteland. That's what we're talking about. Versus your job. If you're making me choose, I'm going to have to definitely choose. And this is the thing, this is what I want to point out about this tit. Everything he says, he fucking owns himself. Everything is not quite the own that you think it is. Everything that he says is not the rinse that he thinks it's going to be. And it's so easy, because a lot of these guys are very, very clever. It's clearly what they do full time. Especially when you're talking about Israel and things like that. My glasses are annoying the shit clean out of me. The prayer here. Is that a bit better? And so it's not everything he says. So he's basically offering a choice. Yeah, well, if that's the choice, I'm sorry, Don, you're going to have to go and look for another job, son. If that's the choice, if that's the options that we've got, he says, how about the 5,000 jobs the company offers to the local economy? You're offering me a choice here. 5,000 jobs or ecocide. Can't drink the water. It's no choice. You can't. It's not a choice anyone needs to. If that's the choice, then yes, you're going to lose your job. I'm sorry. It's not what I want. I don't want that. In fact, I would go so far as to say, if this company, there's so many ways to completely dismantle what he's saying, and Twitter is no place to do it, which is one of the joys of of having this podcast. I would go so far as to say that in order to deal with the waste properly, never mind the ethical considerations about the way that the chickens are kept and raised, I'm just talking about purely about the water waste and industrial pollutants going into the loch. If we're going to deal with that properly, that's going to create more jobs. So you're not talking about 5,000 jobs to get it right. You're talking about maybe 6,000 jobs if you get it right. Or 6,500. Or maybe you're going to outsource that to somebody else. So there's another whole sector there being created. Do you get what I'm saying? This is what I mean by this guy. He thinks he's owning you all the time. He fucking isn't. And the reason that he isn't is because he can't. Because the argument is won. The argument is ours. We've won the argument. Fucking Lord Shaftesbury should not own that loch. These people should not be allowed to pollute at will, it seems, into it. We've won the argument. That's why they're easy to defeat. So I'll get back to Don's efforts here. Lucky Nom Nom comes back. I'm sure the public are down to see these huge changes. Nobody's demanding job losses. Right. They have corresponded with the relevant authorities. Not everything has to be played out in public. I'm sure the public response will come when the issue has been completed, a complex operation. Now, I'm going to break that down sentence by sentence because it's such fucking patent bullshit. It's staggering. It's one of the reasons also why I don't generally get involved in things like this. I sort of... I will drop in every now and again. Lucky Nom Nom didn't need my help, by the way, so that's why I kind of left whoever this person is. I don't know who this person is. Male, female, whatever, other. They have been corresponded with the relevant authorities. So they're talking to the relevant authorities. The government, I guess, right? Not everything has to be played out in public. Now, this is a company that sponsors the fucking Olympics. They're well used to the idea of marketing, and they know exactly that their reputation when it comes to this matter is not good. So if they're doing something, something's coming down the pipe, they're going to fucking tell us. They're going to let us know, right? They're going to be allaying the fears of the climate protesters, right? So not everything has to be played out in public. Fuck off, Don. If they're doing anything, they're going to let us know, right? I'm sure the public response will come when the issue has been completed. A complex operation? Not really. It's not really complex. Just don't dump your shit into the loch. It's pretty simple. And then I did jump in on this. A complex operation. Dawn finishes, and until they get it right, we will try to put the tiny amount of pressure on them that we can. Oh, and I'm getting it on record, they won't get it right. A half-assed, lazy piece of PR may emerge, and then it's business as usual. That's my response to Don. Lucky Nom Nom replies to me, not a great sign that their employees are on here abusing peaceful protesters and engaging in spin. Nailed it. Don, not abusing. Not abusing. The first thing he did was call us all dickheads. And not abusing. You're probably their leader. one of the far left nuts walking about in nappies with a gay pride flag in one hand and not abusing. So, not abusing. As I work in the engineering department, and I know the lengths that we have to go to correct the procedure, and the fact that we went. Well, here's what he got right. So this is again everything he says. You're literally going, Don. I don't think this is exactly what you think it is. So I work in the engineering department. I know the lengths we have to go to correct the procedure. Now that's a fucking lie. This guy does not work anywhere near engineering, and the fact that you went to the factory that produces the least waste shows how silly you are. Right. First of all, there's no way this fucking idiot works in engineering, right? Second of all, the fact that you went to the factory that produces the least waste shows how silly you are. So there's another factory somewhere else that produces even more waste than this one. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't, we never said it did. We never said this was the biggest one. We said the company, as not that particular site. So, Nucky Nom Nom comes back. Not abusing. Cop yourself on, lad. Only person you're fooling here with that claim is yourself. And hey, Lucky Nom Nom, excuse me, I don't know who this person is, screenshotted one of Dawn's responses. And I stand by the statement, seriously, your life must be so boring, I'm currently on site. Thank you. And he said, so, where's the, oh, I replied to one of these, hold on. Regardless, it doesn't matter whether, oh yeah, not a, so there was my reply, yeah, our publicity stunt. So my reply to him saying, the fact that you went to the factory that produces the least waste shows how silly you are. And I says, yeah, our publicity stunt was ruined because we chose the wrong factory. Fuck off. Also, if you do work in engineering, you can come back to me in a year and ask for an apology. When this new wonder tech is working, and I'd gladly give it, I suspect I'll not have to. And he replied to me, he says, guarantee, or Lucky Nom Nom comes back and says, guarantee he's not an engineer. Doubt he even works for the company now. A serial bluffer. And I said, I thought the same. I knew there's no fucking way this guy was an engineer. He was too stupid. Everything he said was unknown. He thought he was kind of getting us. I got them with this one. Everything he did was a cell phone. I actually enjoyed it, and I only sort of dropped in with Lucky Nom Nom because she there was handling it and didn't need my help at all. So, final little piece article on this. This is from the Irish News, and this is just from the other day. Northern Ireland Water, who is the regulatory body responsible for our water in Northern Ireland, not testing for toxic organism found in Ireland for first time at Lough Neagh. Northern Ireland Water has confirmed it does not test drinking water for toxic organisms which have been detected in Ireland for the first time in the algae at Lough Neagh. The presence of organisms known as, not even going to attempt to say that, was confirmed in research published last week, which found much of the foul-smelling so-called algal mats on the shore of the loch consist of bacteria primarily associated with livestock and human feces. Well, there we go. Who saw that one coming? Runoff from agriculture. And where would you get in the water an algae associated with livestock and human feces? Where would you get how would that get into the loch? Well, runoff from agricultural slurry, raw sewage and leaching septic tanks are said to be responsible for the environmental catastrophe that has befallen Ireland's largest loch. So there we go. I'm not going to read the whole article. You get the point of it. It's fucking depressing enough. And there we go. So this is the point. Whenever my park says we're doing all we can, we fall within the regulations, we obey the law, we do that. Well, first of all, most of that's a lie. And second of all, if it's true, the regulations aren't good enough. It's just simple as that. You don't need to outwit that. You don't need to outwit that statement beyond that. Beyond that. If you're following the law, then the law's not good enough. The law needs to be changed. And we know what we need to do. We do know what we need to do. If, like, you're coming back and saying, what about the 5,000 jobs? Well, we create another 1,000 jobs by cleaning the thing up. So shut the fuck up. Swat that argument away. Right? Who's going to pay for it? Fucking my park's going to pay for it. Because all they do is take their profits and offshore it anyway. So there's no benefit to us beyond the 5,000 jobs. So if the status quo remains, all that's going to happen is my park's going to have to pay another 1,000 employees. Because they're not paying their taxes. They offshore their profits. They're owned by a massive Brazilian food corporation, agri-food corporation. So what's the big fucking deal? What's the big deal and what's the problem? Why can we not do this? We can't do this because of the first point, because the legislation is wrong. The law isn't there. We need to change the fucking law. Or at least comply with the laws that we have. Look at that picture. Look at that picture and tell me you're not depressed. Look at that fucking picture and tell me you're not depressed. That's unbelievable. For people listening to this, can't see it. There's a picture of a young girl, a child, she couldn't be any more than 8, standing on the shores of Lough Neagh, looking out at what should be a gorgeous marinescape, and instead it looks like exactly what it is: toxic fucking sludge going up 2 feet away from her goodies. Heartbreaking altogether. Absolutely fucking heartbreaking altogether. Stunned. Still stunned by this. I know I'm going on about this, people, and I know I bring this up pretty much every podcast at the minute. It's that important. It really is. I know it's a pet concern of mine, but I do genuinely think that this is the biggest story we have. This is the biggest thing for us. This is our fucking environment. We need to look after it. And the loch is the big thing that we can all see. This is happening all over. But with the loch, it's that big. So if I'm going on about it, please forgive me. I apologise. But I think I'm going to carry on. And I did find out some very fascinating information about some of the mythology involving Laban and stuff the other day, which was gorgeous and beautiful, which I'll tell you about some other time. I want to keep this as it is. Right, onwards. I feel like playing some music. So let's play some Sergio's Magic Dustbin. You just have a listen to that while I get to tee this next thing up. Bum, 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 bum. Right, so we know about the ongoing travesties, devastations, genocides, etc., that are happening, ongoing, as I said, in Palestine. And we're all feeling fatigued from it, I think. Because it's just so unfathomably horrible. We're watching innocent men, women and children being massacred daily, being played out in front of us on our TV screens. On our TV screens, on our phones, on our social media accounts. And it's hard, it really is hard to fathom. If we're feeling fatigue, which I'm sure you, like me, are, imagine what these people are feeling like, the Palestinians themselves. Their families who have fled and are living, the diaspora who are living in other places. And by the way, a wee word to the fucking fascists who are not protesting about immigrants. Fucking have a word with yourself. You don't want immigrants. You don't want refugees. Stop making them. The kids. So, this story, whenever I think about covering what's going on in Palestine and Gaza, it's sort of, I just don't, there's no shortage of, like, whatever happened today will do. Just grab it and that's it and show it, and it will be, it's stunning. Absolutely fucking stunning. But this one has to, when it comes to depravity, and I think it's the depravity because I think it's especially depraved because it exposes the Zionist soul. It exposes how evil these people have become. And it also is, you know, I'm not going to, you, like me, I'm sure you've done things over the decades of excusing certain things that maybe you heard about that happened in Israel, because we all carry the thing about the Holocaust. We all carry that we carry that with us. We have this greatest crime in humanity and all that. Well, it's one of the greatest crimes in humanity. There have been others. I think the Native Americans would probably have their hand up in the corner going, excuse me, the Native Aboriginals, and certainly us here in Ireland, we had our fair share of that as well. And King Leopold of Belgium murdered more than the Jew, but it's not a competition. So there have been plenty of other horrible things done. So, but what I mean to say is, certain things we sort of, maybe we don't feel comfortable criticizing Israel. Those days are over. Clearly, we're way past that now. But this story exposes the depravity and how broken down Israeli society is. And I'm going to echo the words of a guy called Russell Dobler, who is a part of a Jew Dissidents podcast, and he said, and I'm going to maul his quote, but he said basically Israel needs to be wiped off the face of Israel as an idea needs to be wiped off the face of the earth. He's talking about the Zionist idea. Israel can't exist like this anymore. This needs to end. There needs to be a one-state solution. The two-state solution is over. That is never going to work. Anybody promoting that idea is basically given a tacit approval of what's happening right now, because the two-state solution cannot work. There needs to be one state. So the Zionist entity known as Israel needs to go. It needs to be gone. And I think everybody in Israel needs to go into fucking therapy, because this story is fucking unbelievable, piled on top of staggering, piled on top of depraved, piled on top of another big pile of unbelievable down there at the bottom. Check this out. Video of sexual abuse at Israeli prison is just latest evidence. Said Tayman is a torture site. Israel abuse of Palestinians at the military prison has been reported for months. The US is asking the Israeli military to investigate itself. And there's a picture. Now, there is a video of this, which I'm not going to play, which I have not seen, but I have listened to the commentary of those who have. As early as the first month of Israel's war on Gaza, Said Tayman, that's the name of the prison, I probably got that wrong, but I'm going to carry on with that. A secretive Israeli military prison in the Negev desert has been raising alarm bells for Israeli human rights attorney Ronnie Pelly and other rights activists. Pelly and her colleagues started to hear reports from whistleblowers about the poor conditions for Palestinians imprisoned inside Said Tayman. They heard instances of violence committed by soldiers against detained Palestinians, and one case, a Palestinian who died there. Since then, the media reports about the prison have mounted, quoting formerly detained Palestinians and Israeli whistleblowers who spoke in more detail of the harrowing conditions inside the prison. A CNN investigation in May revealed that the Palestinian detainees were restrained, blindfolded, forced to sit and sometimes stand throughout the night beneath floodlights. Wounded Palestinians were strapped down onto beds, forced to wear diapers and fed through straws. Soldiers beat detainees motivated for revenge for the October the 7th attacks. And the prisoners' limbs were amputated due to untreated wounds from the restraints. Such operations took place without anaesthesia. Later in May, the Intercept investigation found that hundreds of Palestinian doctors have disappeared into Israeli detention. So did you get that last line? People are getting their limbs amputated because the restraints have been on too tight, caused wounds. Wounds have probably gone, I assume, gone gangrenous, and then they just cut them off. A testimony of one surgeon who was beaten and abused. A month later, a separate report from Haaretz revealed Israeli Defense Forces were investigating 48 deaths of Palestinians from Gaza who were in Israeli custody. Now, this story goes on about the abuse. So stay with me. I just want to get some story. Pele told the Intercept it was so extreme we couldn't ignore it. Now you're not going to believe what I'm about to tell you. If you don't know about this, you're going to be staggered, and it's not. I'll get to it. Stay with me. While rights groups inside Israel moved aggressively to protect the rights of Palestinians detained in both its military camps as well as prisons within its official government prison system, the United States showed little urgency around the issue. The US State Department only committed on the Sid Taman when pressed by reporters after the release of the CNN report. In May, Vedant Patel, deputy spokesperson for the department, said, "We are looking into these and other allegations of abuse against Palestinians in detention." He added that the US had been clear and consistent with any country, including Israel, that it must treat all detainees humanely. Ha! Ha! Guantanamo Bay, anyone? Humanely, with dignity, and in accordance with international law. It must respect detainees' human rights. He claimed the US had asked the Israeli government to investigate the claims itself, which is clearly just kicking the can down the road. Now we're getting into the meat and potatoes. Listen to this. After the Haaretz report of dozens of deaths, there was no new comment. Later that same week in June, the New York Times published an investigation into the conditions at Sid Taman, which contained testimony from former prisoners that their Israeli jailers had tortured them with anal rape by a metal rod, among other abuses. These explosive findings were buried in the final portion of a nearly 4,000-word story after an introduction that only mentioned beatings and other abuses, and a headline that described Sid Taman as the base where Israel has detained thousands of Gazans. Again, the US government had no words. It wasn't until a leaked surveillance video from Sid Taman was broadcast on Tuesday on Israeli news network Channel 12, showing Israeli soldiers allegedly gang raping a Palestinian man imprisoned there, and subsequent pressure from reporters that the US officials commented again. The State Department responded by calling on the Israeli military to investigate itself. 10 Israeli soldiers were arrested and faced charges stemming from the alleged gang rape. Another soldier was arrested the following day on suspicion of beating detained Palestinians who were blindfolded and handcuffed. The soldier allegedly filmed himself during the incident. A new report from Israeli human rights groups, B'Tselem, again, probably minced that, showed that the Sid Taman, I'm just going to say prison for now on instead of that word, that the prison was not the only Israeli prison where Palestinians have been tortured, building on years of reports of Palestinians being abused. Released this week, one day before the Channel 12 video leak broadcast, B'Tselem report argued with the majority that the majority of imprisoned Palestinians have faced abuse and torture within Israeli custody. The report calls on the International Criminal Court to investigate and promote criminal proceedings against individuals suspected of planning, directing, and committing these crimes. So, in summary, it has turned out that in all these military prisons and civilian prisons, rape of the prisoners has been legitimised. What's happened since? Now, this is a report from Al Jazeera, and it's titled, "Everything is Legitimate. Israeli leaders defend the soldiers accused of rape. Israeli society is divided over the arrest of 10 soldiers for the brutal gang rape of a Palestinian prisoner caught on video. Video has emerged of a gang rape of a Palestinian prisoner by the guards at the prison detention facility in the Negev desert. The video has been verified by Al Jazeera, shows the prisoner being selected from a larger group lying bound on the floor. The victim is then escorted to a wall where guards, using their shields to hide their identity from the camera, proceed to rape him. The attack is believed to have been so brutal that after he was transferred to hospital, the victim was unable to walk. 10 soldiers were ultimately arrested, and in a case that has rocked Israeli society, the soldiers belonging to the unit known as Force 100, which is tasked with guarding the prison facility. According to Haaretz, military prosecutors released 3 of the arrested soldiers on the August 4th, adding to the 2 previously released by the investigation following a military hearing in Kfar Yona on July 30th, at which protesters gathered in support of the soldiers after arrest. Video has shocked many within Israeli society. Some observers, including a local rights group and 2 UN agencies, have voiced concerns about the treatment of Palestinian prisoners. Oh, fuck me. We're concerned, are we? We're concerned. So we saw a video of a dude getting raped in prison. Now we're concerned. However, some, including the country's far-right finance minister, the outrage has centred on the crime of recording the video rather than the alleged rape itself. Talking to Axe on Thursday night, Bezalel Smotrich demanded an immediate criminal investigation to locate the leakers of the trending video that was intended to harm the reservists that caused tremendous damage to Israel in the world and to exhaust the full severity of the law against them. So he wants to exhaust the full severity of the law against the people that leaked the video, not the people that did the rape. Does this remind you of anything? Of anybody? Does this remind you a bit of the Julian Assange thing? The Bradley Manning thing? They released the video of the massacres in Iraq, and they're the ones that went to jail. The law didn't go after the murderers. It went after the people that exposed the murderers, because the murderers were doing the bidding of the state. This is what we're talking about here. Following the arrest of the reservists, some far-right mobs, some of which included government ministers, stormed the facility in southern Israel later the same day. So they stormed the prison, unable to find and free the imprisoned soldiers. So the 10 soldiers that got arrested, remember the original 10, they then turned to the base at Bet Lid, 60 kilometres away, where the soldiers were being held for questioning to call for the soldiers' release. That unrest continued during a High Court hearing convened on Wednesday to hear the petitions of the prisoners who are alleged to have been tortured. The proceedings were interrupted by demonstrators who included victims of the October the 7th Hamas-led attack who shouted, "Disgrace, we are the sovereign." Israeli pressure group Guarding the Soldiers, a new organisation formed in defence of the soldiers accused of rape, was quoted in Israeli media saying the hearing in this High Court this morning is absurd and a gift to Hamas. Israeli politicians, including cabinet ministers, have also defended the accused. Ben Gvir, who is responsible for the prison service, told the Israeli media on the day of the reservists' arrest that it was shameful for Israel to arrest our best heroes. The same day, Smotrich, who had been among the right-wing mob to storm the prison, published a video message saying that the IDF soldiers deserve respect and must not be treated like criminals. The video, just the tip of the iceberg. The video was the latest piece in a growing body of evidence of abuse, sexual assault, and systematic withholding of food and medical care that the Palestinians endure within the Israeli prison system. It's at odds with international law, etc., etc. Now, check this shit. So here is an Israeli journalist, and this is what I'm saying. So you say, well, that's obviously clearly a terrible thing, Andy, and, you know, we don't condone that, but you can't just write off a whole society. I can, and I am going to. I'm not calling. So you can't hear what this guy's saying, but so I'm gonna read it out to you. So this is Israeli journalist Yehuda Schlesinger from the Israeli Hayom newspaper called for the widespread rape of Palestinian prisoners during an unchallenged panel discussion on Israeli TV. When asked to comment on the rape, and there's the video of him saying it on the screen, by the way. So I'm just reading out the article, the comment that they are under the post on Instagram. The only problem I have is that it's not a regulated policy of the state to abuse detainees, because first of all, they deserve it. It's a great revenge, and maybe it will serve as a deterrent. In the past, Schlesinger has stated that Palestinians living in Gaza deserve a hard, agonising death, and that there are no innocent people in the besieged strip. So to quote him exactly, here's what he says, and there he is on screen saying it. I told my friends that I don't give a rat's buttocks about what they do to a guy like that. What is that what you really think? Unequivocally, yes. I'll explain. Soldiers who are suspected in the criminal offence of rape, yes, of a cuffed prisoner, it doesn't interest you. Does the morality of our soldiers not interest you? They're not soldiers. They're criminals. I don't give a rat's ass what they did to that Hamas man. The problem is that it's not a regulated policy of the state. So that's the level of debate that's happening. We think we've got far-right commentators and Julia Hartley-Brewer and clowns like that. This is fucking... I'd be honest with you, I think this is beyond political labelling. This is just animalistic. And here's a soldier, the main soldier himself, appearing on TV. He's wearing a balaclava. This is from the same TV show. An Israeli soldier, there he is right there, you can see him, who was arrested accused of raping a Palestinian detainee, appeared on Israeli Channel 14 to defend himself and his fellow soldiers. And he says here, why did you do that? Why did you slander our name in the world? Why did you edit the videos? Now, you edited them. That's why I'm sitting here, to defend us, to defend the Force 100. So he goes on TV. These people are illegitimate as far as I'm concerned. Right, so anyway, he goes on TV to defend himself and attacks the journalist that did the report and accused him of editing the video. He did what he did. He's not denying that he did it, and he's also in this. He has not only admitting that he did it, he's calling for the legitimization of it and to use it as a government policy. He then later, I don't have it here, but he then later went on to he removed his balaclava. He was found guilty. They were sentenced to a prison sentence. Guys broke into the prison, broke them out, as I read in the report, or tried to get them out, and then all the sentences were overturned, and he then exposed himself. So he's not ashamed of what he did. So that's what I'm talking about. Now, we're nearly done with this. It's such a disturbing story. EU-US denounce alleged sexual abuse and torture of Palestinian prisoners by Israeli troops. So first of all, so what's wrong in that sentence, isn't there? Alleged sex. There's video of it. We've seen it. They've been sentenced in a court. The EU is gravely concerned by the allegations of human rights violations. Can you imagine being a Palestinian and reading this? Would this not make you as angry as fuck? Because it's making me angry. Brussels has called on Israel to open its prisons to human rights observers after a video began circulating that appears to show one detainee. It doesn't appear. It shows. It's beyond question. U.S. State Department spokesperson Vampire Matthew Miller said that the allegations should be investigated by the government of Israel and by the IDF. So basically, fuck all should happen. Unfucking believable. So there we go. Going to leave that story because it's just too fucking depressing to carry on. And I do find it interesting too that the thing that Israel accuses everybody else of, it's becoming apparent, but you're guilty of that of which you accuse your enemy. That's what they've been doing the whole time. All the things that they accused the Palestinians of doing and being, that's what they are. And I will reiterate, I call for the complete destruction of the state, the Zionist state of Israel, not the people. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about genocide or anything like that, like they are. I'm talking about the state of Israel. The Zionist state of Israel. They need. Whoa. So. Oh, sorry. I just blew my eardrums out there. I have a video on here. It's far too loud. So. Here we go. I've got a new segment here. And I'm going to call it this. I'm going to call it Tell Me Something Good. Tell me something good. Right? So, I want to try and end with something kind of positivity. And this is politics, culture, and some other shit. So, do you know, and you know that we've had the Olympics, right? So, we're going to do a little Olympics story. And it's this. There she is. Australian breakdancer Ray Gunn. Do you know what this is? This is a part of the something good segment. Do you know who this is? Do you know what she does? Have you heard about this? Have you maybe because you're not aware? Oh yeah, I did hear something about breakdancing in the Olympics. Well, this is fucking brilliant. Right? So, breakdancing was in the Olympics. Unreal. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. And the Australian entry into the breakdancing was this woman here called, her name is, I guess that it's her breakdancing name, Ray Gunn. Now, whether you think breakdancing should be in the Olympics or not is one thing. Personally, as an ex-breaker myself, yes I was, back when I was a kid, 12, 13, 14 years of age, used to break dance around the streets of Lurgan and Craigavon and Portadown with a few others, more than a few others, quite popular for a while. I loved it. It was great. It was exercise. I remember my dad being very keen that we did it because he saw us doing it and went, oh, that looks... He saw it kept us out of trouble and he saw it was exercise and it was, we were working out constantly, literally constantly, because it is massively, it requires a huge physical element. But whether that qualifies it to be in the Olympics or not is quite another question. As an ex-breaker myself, I'm not so sure. It's definitely an art. It's definitely an art form. It's definitely requires athleticism, and it is a competitive sport, really. So therefore, maybe I guess it should be in the Olympics. It doesn't matter what I think. I'm just, whether it is or whether it isn't, it's now not going to be because of this. So, Australian breakdancer Ray Gunn is accused of rigging her way to the 24 Olympics. So, before we get to this thread, it's a Twitter thread. Let me show you this. Well, first of all, have you seen the dance? We'll do that first. We'll show you the dance. Right? So, let me show you the dance. So here she is on the screen. Right, I'm not going to play that music in case I get copyright struck. But check that shit out. Actually, I'll play Sergio's Magic Dustbin underneath it. Watch her. That's not breakdancing. It's been described as many things. A toddler having a tantrum. I think I'm going to get copyright struck for this. I think the IOC are being really, really dicky about this stuff. It's very hard to find this on Twitter or on YouTube. But you get this on TikTok. So that's her routine. That there is not breakdancing. None of this is breakdancing. And the Australian Prime Minister called it a national embarrassment, and so he should. Yeah. So you can see what the problem is. You can't see what the problem is, right? It's not just me. I'm not picking, by the way, and I'm not picking on the woman. I don't wish her any ill will or anything. But that's clearly not breakdancing. Now, she scored 0 points, nil points. So the judges clearly weren't falling for it. It is laughable. It is hilarious. It is genuinely hilarious. A couple of things about this. Now, here is a video of the breakdancer. Here is, I'm trying to find, so here is the breakdancer this is Molly Chapman, the breakdancer who lost to Ray Gunn in the qualifying event to compete at the Olympics. Now, this is Molly Chapman. That's breakdancing. This woman is clearly a bona fide breakdancer. You know this. You know. I don't need to tell you. That's difficult, athletic, talented, coordinated, physical. You need to be strong. You need to be fit. You need to be agile. And this Ray Gunn cat beat her to get to the Olympics. So you must be like me. You're going, that can't be a thing that happened. Ray Gunn beat her. This fool, who looks like she's taking the piss out of breakdancing, beat this athlete here. How? Ooh, wait till you hear. It gets very, very interesting. So I'm going to let this commentator here explain, because I've got a lengthy article that I was going to read, and I don't think I'm going to bother. This guy sort of just nails it. So check this out.
A petition has been circulating demanding that Rachel Gunn, also known as Ray Gunn, be held accountable for their roles in the breakdancing debacle. Breakdancing, being such a niche sport in Australia, didn't have a formal governing body, so Rachel Gunn took it upon herself to create one, to get breakdancing included in this year's Olympics. However, her actions appear far from ethical. She appointed herself as the head of this newly formed governing body, and her husband took on the roles of both judge and coach for the qualifiers. The most disturbing part of this story is that Rachel Gunn allegedly blocked genuinely talented breakdancers from underprivileged communities from even participating in the selection process. This move seems calculated to create an environment where only she, her friends, and her husband had a chance at making it to the Olympics. As a result, it appears she secured her spot in the Games by essentially eliminating the competition, many of whom were far more skilled. Videos of these other dancers show their talent is undeniable, which raises serious questions about how Rachel Gunn made it through while they did not. And a Change.org petition was launched this morning, demanding accountability and transparency. The petition has gained over 4,000 signatures.
Boom. There we go. That's it in a nutshell. Check this out. There's an article here on Ellie. Everything you need to know about the Ray Gunn breaking before you weigh in. So you know the crack. For those expecting head spinning and backflips, there was some confusion. Ray Gunn's performance was heavy with kangaroo hops, and the athlete writhed on the ground. It was a meme-perfect moment, quickly picked up on TikTok, where both her uniform and unique moves were mocked. But many Australians named her an Aussie icon, unfairly pilloried for having a go and rushed to her side. Don't think too many are doing that now. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese even weighed in, saying it is an Australian tradition for people to have a go. And she had a go representing our country. That's a good thing. Maybe that's what the author was talking about. But I don't think the Australian public on whole were proud of this. Gunn defended herself on the grounds of creative expression. I was never going to beat these girls on what they can do in the power moves. What I bring is creativity. Who is Rachel Gunn? Ray Gunn is a 36-year-old university. Now, this is where... So everything becomes, okay. And this is the moment that you go, you're a fucking dick. 36-year-old university lecturer from Sydney with a PhD in cultural studies. According to her About section, Gunn is an interdisciplinary researcher interested in the cultural politics of breaking. Gunn holds a PhD in cultural studies and a bachelor's in contemporary music. While Gunn earned 0 points for her performance at the Paris Olympics, the Australian Breaking Association has recognised her. She was the association's top-ranked B girl in 20 and 21, but we know how the association came to be. There was no association until her and her husband put it together, right? And we saw the other more talented dancer, actual proper breaker, who this clown beat, right? And you're going, how is that? What? How did that happen? But now we know. In what's been seen as an escalation of events for Gunn, a petition has started on change.org. Accusations made in the petitioner unverified. As reported by Fox Sports, AOC Chief Executive Matt Carroll described the position as appalling with no factual basis. He described it as an affront to Anna Meares, who had no role in overseeing the nomination of the Olympic athletes. So Gunn said in an interview in July this year that breaking was all about was observing what's come before and leaning into those historical roots without plagiarising. However, some strongly feel that her performance missed the mark when it come to treating breaking respectfully. And there's another video of it. I'm going to mute that music in case it gets copyright struck, which it can do. So, Sorry, let me just... yeah. So, firstly, other sporting experts resisted her participation in the Olympics on the grounds of an academic critique. University of New South Wales professor and Australian Rugby League commentator Megan Davis criticised Gunn's motivations for participating in the competition, accusing her of participating to bolster her academic study. Getting 0 points on purpose in 3 rounds for an academic study subsidised by the taxpayer, both at university and at Olympic level, isn't having a go, Davies said. It's disrespectful to other competitors, and I'm glad most Aussies aren't buying the Kool-Aid, and I would agree with that. That's kind of where I am as well. And the article goes on, does breakdancing want to be in the Olympics anyway, etc., etc., etc. So there we go. That's my new segment called Tell Me Something Good, because that was fucking hilarious. And let's have another little look at this disaster of a routine. There it is. Let me see. So I want... look at this. Let's have a look at it. Tell me something good. This is good. Look at this girl. Proper breakdancing. Fucking brilliant. I love it. I love the vibe of it. It's brilliant. I love the free flowing energy and movement. I love the expression. I love the athleticism. I love the wildness of it. I love the craziness of it. I love the avant-garde nature of it. It's just gorgeous. I love breakdancing. I just always did, always loved it, always thought it was fantastic. And like the previous commentator said, it's very disrespectful for some fucking 36-year-old university academic. No disrespect to you if that's who you are, a 36-year-old university academic. You've denied this girl an opportunity to perform at the Olympics. And she's also made her country a bit of a laughing stock, I feel. So there we go. Do you want one more Tell Me Something Good story? And there's somebody else to put up remember Elaine Bennis in Seinfeld doing her crazy dance. And they've said the non-Olympic equivalent, and so it is. It's very similar actually, the way it's just contorting herself. It's brilliant. Well, let's do one more. Tell Me Something Good story. Where is it? I thought I just clicked on it and it went away. There it is. See if I can get the actual video. There it is. Led by donkeys. So, Liz Truss, our previous Prime Minister. I'll move this over so you can see it. So she's kind of got a bit quiet, hasn't she? What's she at? She must have disappeared into complete obscurity after making a fucking complete bollocks of everything. Oh no, not a bit of it. So led by donkeys, she's on a speaking tour in the US, and she's very much... Sorry, this is too good to... Tell me something. She's very much courting the right wing of American politics and American media. And here she is giving a little speechy poos on stage. Let's see if I can get the audio for this. There she is.
I support Trump and I want him to win. What? Yes. But it's what I was saying.
So she's going around, she's giving these speaky things, right? Of which they get paid fortunes. And Led by Donkeys have hijacked the event. And for those of you that can't see this, something appears behind her, slowly dropping down on a screen.
I think the average American is not doing well, and people do vote on. I think it was Bill Clinton who said it's the economy stupid. So I think that.
Oh, very good, very good. So what's happened is there's a banner slowly dropping in behind her, and on it is a picture. Remember of that lettuce with the eyeballs on it? That I think it was the Daily Star said that the lettuce is going to last longer than Liz Truss, and underneath it it says, "I crashed the economy," and it's coming in just as she's talking about the economy. Timing is perfect.
On that. I've got a load of Trump questions, by the way. But what?
And then someone comes off and points what's on stage, and
no idea where that's come from.
everyone's laughing at her, and she gets up and she's going to leave. That's not funny, she says. Yeah. Brilliant. Well done, led by donkeys. So that's that. We're done. I like that. Fucker. I don't care. So that's the pod, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got all these different musics all teed up, and I'd like to start using them, but I can't. Anyway, so there we go. Thanks everybody for listening to Politics, Culture and Some Other Shit. Like, share, subscribe, head over to Patreon, do the thing, like the videos, all that sort of stuff. You know the crack, you know the way it goes. That Israel story was shocking, wasn't it? And Lough Neagh, our beautiful Lough, needs our help. So let's see if we can do something about it. Get involved in the protest, make it an issue whenever it comes to voting. It's just something that we can do. We don't have many levers. We don't have much way of leveraging the things that we want, except through voting. So let's see if we can do that. You do it, I'll do it, you do it. We should do it. It's a good thing. So there we go. Thanks everybody. Toodle pip. Oh, before we go, I should say as well, Chuck Kjol tomorrow night. It was supposed to be with our lovely friend Phil Woolsey. He'd put together a special 3-piece band for that, but sadly he had a bereavement in his family. A very, very tragic thing happened, and yeah, so we've postponed it. We were ready. We offered Phil to cancel it. He said no, he wants to do it. So whenever we get another date, all you ticket holders, it was sold out, as you know. All you ticket holders, you can get a refund if you like, but your ticket is valid for the next date, whenever that comes in. I don't know when that's going to come in, but so stay tuned for that. And as we offer our love, sympathy, and just empathy and sadness and everything goes out to Phil and his family. A terrible, terrible thing. We love you, brother, and hopefully we're going to be seeing him tomorrow night, just for a wee pint, something to eat, maybe. We'll see. We're sort of hinting at that. We'll see how he feels. Anyway, there we go. Take care, everyone. Love ya. Bye.